This is the talk of Music City real estate.
Welcome back to another episode of the Talk of Music City, where we educate and motivate all things real estate. Monte Moore is not here today, but he is with Realty One Group Music City, and I'm Carey Ann with CMG Financial and my mortgage team. Every week we are posting a new episode chock full of Nashville real estate value, and you can follow along and subscribe at talkmusiccity.com. Hey, how did I do? So good,
Dang.
so good. Hey, Jim, I heard you've got a little surprise for me.
I do. What's your catchphrase?
So good.
Your catchphrase is so good. So here we go.
What you got there?
So good. So good.
Oh, check it out. Hey, we're having a lot of fun today.
Love
Look,
it.
I got three blondes with me, or I'm with two fabulous blondes. We've got Chrissy Amundsen with us, and the one, the only, the fabulous, the other half of my my partner in crime with all things Music City, Miss Connie Moore. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're excited because today we are talking about something really special, I think, because I'm all about stepping out and just kind of working within oneself this year. And I think as a business owner, and all of you out there are business owners, it is important to really think through the internal methods of all of what we're doing. And so I love that Chrissy and Connie are big book readers,
Yes.
And I as well. And so they're bringing today a topic, The Busy Woman's Guide to an Extraordinary Life of Meaning and Success. It's called On Purpose.
Yes.
Chrissy.
Yeah, I often make Monte hear about the books I'm reading. This one didn't apply to him so much, so I brought it up as a podcast topic so we
Sure.
can have a ladies' day. But I told him,
First of all, where's our champagne, or where's our
I
wine,
know.
or what's happening here?
I really screwed up. Sorry, ladies.
But I told him, I said, wow, busy women. Well, I know a couple of them. And, we are always looking for not just success in our business, but I know we, like you said, we are always looking inside for that deeper meaning or that deeper purpose. So this hit the nail on the head.
I love that. I mean, I think it's important to be able to strive to the next level and to continue to build your business without being burnt out. It is good to understand oneself and how to kind of guide through all the chaos that happens. So I just started to read or listen. Monte also got me on the Audible? I don't know, the thing on the phone. I'm a good reader. But I'm now listening as I'm driving to this place or that. And so I just downloaded On Purpose today. So tell us a little bit about what you want to share today about it.
Well, what really stood out about it is how simple it is to kind of apply these things. And it's the small actions. Connie actually was a great influence on me when I started working for this company because I was not a morning person. And she said, wake up early, give yourself some of that peace and silence and meditate. And I told her I was, stressed the other day and she said, you need some meditation. So this book that I started reading implements a lot of these small ways that you can look inside and get your head on straight and set your goals and not get burnt out.
Oh, yeah. I think as a mom, right? Or just a grandma or anybody that is chaotic in their everyday, it is important to have your you time, all about learning about more self-love. And I think it is important to be with oneself. You guys got me with The Miracle Morning.
Yay.
That was a great book.
Yes.
And for those that remember, we brought Hal Elrod to town so many years ago, and he's got an amazing story. And so he kickstarts that miracle morning, right, each and every day for me. So it has been a huge improvement with oneself. So talk about some of the little meditation moments, what we can do.
So essentially what it is there's these 9 chapters and each one covers a choice that you can make in your daily life that will help make your life better. But it's kind of these 4 sections. So the first is reflection. And so with the meditation part, you really are reflecting on what is current. What do I want the future to be? What do those steps look like? So it asks essentially the question of why. So why do we make the choices we do? And I know you've said that. What's your why? That's really at the root of what we do every day. So that's kind of how meditation plays into that. And one thing I really loved from this is, would you rather stay stuck living in a past life that no longer exists for you? Or would you rather celebrate the things you've been through, good and bad, so that you can move on to that future life?
Amen.
So amazing that you're saying that, because I was at lunch today with a random individual who said the same thing, that I should be really just embracing all that I've gone through, right? That got me here today, and reflect, on the good and the bad, because even the bad has made us a better person, stronger person, and it makes us who we are today. So I think reflection is a win for sure.
And we are all a product of our past, of our childhood, of our past
everything.
Marriages, friendships, everything, our families, everything. And we have to
Our last closing.
Our last closing. Oh gosh. Yes. Our last closing. But yeah, you either are a victim of those bad things in the past, or you put your big girl pants on and you really use that as a strength and let that feed you in a positive manner and remove the toxic piece of what brought you down in the first place.
What does Monte always say? He says, thank you for paying the price to be who you are.
Yep.
And
right.
That's
be you.
That's the reflection, is what price have you paid and where has it got you and where do you want to go with it?
Yeah. And everybody has a story. Everybody has a price and a past and a story. So,
And I think we've had a few guests on this show that have shared their storyline. And it's amazing to kind of see where that, build the fuel and the fire in their belly to do something even grander, today. So I think you're onto something with true reflection. I mean, they talk about, a pilot in business, you have a briefing in the morning and then a debrief, right? Reflect on even your day. What was great, what I could have maybe improved, and all the things there. But waking up in a reflection mode is a good thing. What else you got? What's chapter 2?
You were on a podcast episode with me with Monte, I think two or three visits ago when I was here. And so when I read this, I thought of you. There was a story about one of the women, and she said, I believe in why not me? I want other women and young girls to see what's possible. And when you look at my story, this was not supposed to be, but it is. And it's not by happenstance. And it was that podcast we did where you talked about your story and against all odds type of things. So I just, that reminded me of you.
Oh, well, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, look at where we are. All of us are, right? Yeah. I mean, a Chicago gal, a Northeastern gal. Where are you originally from?
California, but my husband says stop telling people that.
I love it.
Las Vegas.
Yeah. And where did we, what career led us into the real estate, world? And, I think when you're destined to be a success just in general, you'll always will land on your feet. I know Monte loves to use the quote that I always say, we pivot and go. That's only because I was in marching band and I had to do a lot of the pivot turns, and I had to move in that direction and that direction on a regular basis. So, that is something that's really important. And I'm so very grateful, because you look back, you look up. I just have this keep vision of like looking up and going, could that ever be me, right? And even today at the different levels, right? Could you ever see yourself? I know Monte talks about having 100 agents, looking up. That was his goal, right? And to see where you guys are today, and to think about, where I am within the career, and the folks out there that are listening, can you hit 5? Can you hit 10, million a year? You can do anything. Like I tell my 10-year-old, you put your mind to, it may take you a little longer, but if you're the tortoise and not the hare, you can do anything.
Yeah.
I think so. Good.
That is the next chapter is projection. So it's clarifying what you want for your future, and it's asking essentially what are the choices that you want to make to get you there, and making that plan. So I know we all do business plans, and we also do our, our mood boards and things like that. What do we want to manifest for our year? But that's a real thing. It is, you have to know what you want and know what your finish line might look like to even start getting there. If you don't know what direction you're going, how do you get there?
I think that's true. I mean, what do you say about that? Have you ever put a mood, I don't even know what's a mood board? It's like a mood ring, something?
I had a mood ring and it never turned anything but purple and black. So I think that was bad.
Do you know that turkeys change color? I just learned my daughter just went turkey hunting, and she's like, do you know that a turkey turns white, blue, and red? Isn't that interesting? I'm learning all. So a turkey's even moody, the little Tom there. Too funny. But, thinking about tomorrow, like, do you have a vision of tomorrow?
Every day. Every morning.
I guess I see what your visualize is. I see toes in the sand.
Yeah, someday. Yeah, before I'm too old.
Yeah, with all your grandkids around.
Yeah, someday. But no, I mean, I think visualization is super important, and it's part of the savers with the the Miracle Morning, which I just absolutely love. Yeah. But for me, every day before I walk into an interview, before I go into onboarding training for new agents joining the company, before I go into a meeting, even out here, I have a little bit of a headache today, but I sat out there and visualized how this was going to be, because again, it does really bring and spark energy and positivity, and get rid of a lot of, I believe in visualizing your day and see what happens.
I love that. That's amazing. And saying, instead of I want to, I am doing, right? Like you're already in that present moment of some sort. Yeah. I will say, I have goals and plans, and they're there. It's kind of funny. I see them stirring. I see them. They're there. And weirdly, I haven't made one step in that direction yet, right? Like it's there. I can clear it. It's interesting where now, like the execution on it is, now is your time to possibly step back over here so you can strive to go, over there. So it's interesting. Sometimes it's a little scary too, right? to want to continue to level up in anything.
That's the process. You reflect on yourself, because you have to know yourself to change. And then, laying out what you want those goals to be, and then executing the plan. I thought this was interesting because I am a huge goal setter, right? And in the execution part, it needs to have some steps. And so this author, Tanya Dalton, she shares that goals should follow impact. So you can remember it this way with impact. They should be inspirational.
Okay.
Done, right? We're good at that. Measurable, purpose-driven, adaptable, challenging, and then for you, timed. Because then that timing is what makes you take that step in that direction, because it's timed. It's not going to be out there forever. You're going to make steps.
Right. So. Huge. So impact. Say that one more time.
Inspirational, measurable, purpose-driven, adaptable, challenging, and timed.
Oh, I like that.
That's so good. Yeah, that is really good. I need to go back to the drawing board and rewrite some of those things with that with clarity. I think it's really more clarity, right? Providing more clarity to that. So that's a good one. What else you got there?
So then the next step, like we were talking about with execution, is action. And this is answering the question of how. So how do we move forward? We know what we want to be. We know what we were. We have all this clarity now, but how do we do it? So I always thought this was interesting because they represent it essentially in this kind of circle. And so action leads to motivation. If you just get started, that action will lead to more motivation.
You being motivated, okay.
Then motivation will eventually lead to some kind of a win for you. And
that a boy or gal.
Something that makes you feel good. You got to win. And then that will lead to momentum, because now you're going. Now you believe in yourself. You're trucking. And then that's going to lead to self-trust, which is then going to lead to confidence, which leads to more action. So then that action again, motivation, a win, momentum, self-trust, more action, and it goes around and around. Yeah. But you got to start with action, and then everything else will follow.
I love that.
And they got to stay motivated. We teach that to our new licensees, our mentees all the time, that you got to keep your foot on the gas pedal. Yeah. Got to keep it going. Got to keep the momentum because it gets exciting, and you see the excitement in their faces, in their lives, in their family, and everything when things start moving in a positive way.
It just takes off. Yeah.
And what if we fail, right? Many of us don't even make the first step because we think, right, what if we fail? And I'm going to say we are going to fail, right? Like if we already know we're going to fail. So how do we jump back up, brush it off and keep going? Yeah. I think they say about failing forward, continue just to take those risks, jump in the deep end. I've been on the Peloton and I ride to 80s. And so Tina Turner, if I can turn back time, every time that song comes on, I sit there and go, if I could only turn back time and be a little riskier, right? Do a little more, to not wait till tomorrow. Do today, that kind of thing. So it is important as a real estate agent, as someone who's the CEO of your own business to jump out and do it now, because I don't know what the market's going to do tomorrow. No. I don't know what's going to happen. So this is our time to own it, do all the things right now. Right. And learn through all the mistakes we're going to make if we make one.
That's one of my,
and to that real quick, to that point, I just had a conversation with one of our office staff yesterday. Something happened and something happens every day. Yeah. But it's like, everything's going to be okay. There's nothing we can't fix. Yep. That's what we do for a living. We're fixers. We're miracle workers. Every day we change. We pivot.
That's what your name tag says, right?
It does.
Owner and miracles.
Owner and miracles. But we do. We have to pivot every day. And the thing I say all the time is, what's the worst that's going to happen?
Yeah.
And nobody's going to die. Nothing's going to burn down. It's all going to be here tomorrow.
Sure.
That closing is going to happen. If we paid something wrong or did something wrong or filed something wrong, no big deal. I mean, we won't make that mistake again, but that's what we do is just, hey, pull your bootstraps up and let's go.
Yeah.
You know,
So true.
We're human.
Yeah.
I always giggle because the show I loved and is off the record now, but it was Scandal.
Oh,
and they were fixers. I mean, they fixed the wrong way, but you know.
No, seriously.
And she looked fabulous.
My alter ego, I could be a fixer.
Oh yeah, and she looked fabulous doing it. I was like, I want to look like her. She is fierce and fabulous as she fixes all the things, you know.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, so it's hard because when we have teams, because we're only as good as the people we surround ourselves with,
Amen.
right? And we have amazing people that are behind the curtain, but we're all human. I remind people that as much as I'm like, you think I'm magic, I am a human being, and mistakes do happen, but we own them, right?
Yeah.
Take ownership of all mistakes and don't hide behind it, because even some agents, you know, I talk with, like, just own it.
Yeah.
Like, tell me the real story, because I can handle the story if you tell it to me, and I can kind of work, you know, through it. But then for my employees too, it's let's create the solution or how not to have that happen again.
Yeah.
You know, what are we going to put the process, you know, in place? So good stuff on
Got
that.
a little tagline here. I think if we fail and fix fabulously,
Hey.
that's the key though. You got to fix. Can't just keep failing.
That's right.
Right.
Plug that hole.
And that was really the next piece of it. The author calls it alteration, but it's what if we get off track? And we know we're going to get off track.
Yeah, we do.
That's a guarantee. It's just, what do you do when you get there? And I love this thing I heard a long time ago, and I hear it consistently. Every time I hear it, I'm like, that's good. It says, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? And that's what you should be doing every day. Because I mean, that fear of failure isn't going to get you anywhere. But what she suggests here to get that purpose going in your life is choose to give yourself grace, because there's no point in beating yourself up. But she says, if you're feeling lost, acknowledge it, assess the situation, and adjust. So that's the fail and fix fabulously. That's our
Love that. You know, Hal goes on and says, I think it's Hal, where he says something frustrates you, right? And you're in traffic, and oh my gosh, I got to be up north by a certain time frame, and you're stuck. But you just want to complain, you know, and sometimes you take it with you. He says you have 5 minutes to bitch and moan and do all the things, scream, laugh, all of it. You know, talk verbals to your partner over there, all the things. But then after 5 minutes, you're done, you know. And he also talks about you can put find something that is your reminder, whether it's an elastic band or you slap your leg. So there's an easy button that you can get, right? Which I did this after he came to town, and you put a song. You can download a song on it. So it looks like an easy button, but you hit it and it brings that memory back of something good, right? And so I put Frozen's Let It Go, because they reminded me of my daughter, and then it's time to let it go.
Yeah.
You know, it's time to let it go. But even in our world, you know, they take that closing that was so frustrating, right?
Yeah.
Agents, we see that, you know, because you guys are on the backside, and they're still talking about it the next day, or the loan officer is super frustrated that they lost that. So you're manifesting, or you're living in that negative for so long that you haven't even stepped out to go get the next, you know, or help serve the next family, you know, that kind of thing. So you're right. And we are going to fall off the wagon, but what are we going to do just to jump back on? So
Get in solution mode.
Yeah.
Always. It's just, we pivot. That's what we do.
Q, my husband, he used to say, can you stop talking about work now? Because I'd be like, and then this happened, and Mary said, and Bob said, and he's like, I don't even know Bob. So you can't take the problems and make them your whole thing. You just got to move on. Push the let it go button.
It is fun. I feel like if we only had a video camera with us telling the stories, because we can't really tell the stories.
Oh, I know.
But there's some stories.
There's some,
I mean, there's some stories.
We're going to write a book someday.
anonymous
I keep telling Monte, because the things that man has experienced and lived through is just, people wouldn't believe. They think real estate, you know, you show 3 homes and get under contract and everybody lives happily ever after. And it's insanity out there. They don't even have a clue the things.
You know, they talk about Instagram, you know, the version or the filtered version, and then they talk about reality of, you know, what it really is. I mean, the folks listening out there, you probably all can, you know, relate, but you can also relate that we have some really good days, and then something happens that just makes your day sad or makes your day super frustrating, you know, and it is important to get back on track as soon as you can, because you're worthy of more, for sure.
Yeah, it's such an emotional business to be in. Every client is living through something. They're first-time home buyers, or they're getting divorced, or they're just got married, or downsizing after retirement, or they're getting ready to have a baby. And there's so much stress related just in moving alone, let alone, hey, let's get through the whole mortgage process and everything else, and then your movers didn't show up, and all of these things. And it's such an tremendously emotional business to begin with.
Yeah.
So I mean, hats off to the real estate professionals out there that handle it like a champ, because honestly, they have to be counselors and just
firefighters, all the things,
Holy cow,
wearing every hat, on top of it. The hardest part, I think, that we do, and I totally lost my train of thought. So Chrissy's going to keep going with the storyline here. It's going to come back to me in a second.
Monte always tells our agents that every realtor should be required to sell their house every now and then, so we can re-empathize with our client. And man, do I just sold a condo, and it was of all my experience, this was the worst. And so, man, do I have some empathy. And I needed to remind myself there are so many good things about why I'm in this industry, and this is just a bump in the road.
Yeah. And now I remember what I was going to say. So it's really easy to mimic. So you're frustrated, so now I'm frustrated, right? Or, your energy is attracted, whether it's good or bad, right? And so the hardest thing is when we deal with the customers, they can't steal your joy. Nobody has the right to steal your joy, right? And that's somebody that I'm learning and all the things. And so you have to just let them talk and kind of not, comprehend what they're saying, but don't let them take over your day. And that could be a seller, that could be, a buyer, that could be a lender. I mean, there's there's some lenders saying few things, like I'm or emailing Monte a few things. Those are fun to read, but we should bring those and put those in print someday. Just 86 the name. Oh, some people have some scripted words.
Oh man.
I love it. But it's like you have to just be straight, and blip up because you're trying to keep the energy going. But at the end of the day, this is an emotional roller coaster we're all on, when it comes to this business, especially right now, because guess what? That one transaction you have may only be the one that you're closing this quarter, right? And or for the month where you're used to closing so many more. And so that's your main focus, right? And so you're just automatically tense, right? Because that is such an important piece of the pie to make sure it gets to the closing table, that everybody feels it, and we got to remind ourselves that we don't want to bring that home to Q, to my daughter, and Monte shouldn't bring that home to you.
Oh my gosh, that's all we talk about is work. I can't stand it.
And you don't want to project that negative energy onto your clients either. No. If you're stressed, they're going to be stressed. Part of this, they said that our brains are hardwired to remember the negative 5 times more than we do the positive. And part of who we are as humans is that we love patterns. And so we tend to seek negative patterns because that's what we're remembering. And then I think we sort of manifest that negativity. So it has to be a very conscious shift to, that was negative, I'm going to go positive now. And if you don't consciously think about that, it's easy to just get taken away on that negative train.
So it's funny you say that, because people are like, oh, you're so positive. And I was like, that's so strategic and intentional for my morning.
Right.
Like, I have to start my day with some sort of oomph, because I post some sort of saying every morning. I search that. I search that out. That's what's moving me that day, so I can continue. But what if I've just posted a negative thing? You get what I'm saying? How funny would that be? And it would just take the energy would just be sucked out of the room, the social place, my day, all the things. So true on that.
Positive affirmations in the morning. I'm all about it. I mean, I have to.
And Connie will bring me back down to earth sometimes. She did it with
me. I mean, honestly, I have a little box of cards on my desk. So when I see somebody having a bad day, I'll dig through my affirmation cards and hey, this one's for you today. So most of the girls have them on their desk somewhere. I've given them. I even put them in cards and mailed them to people because I knew they were having a bad day.
And it works.
I love it.
This is years later. I have this card pinned to my desk board.
That's amazing.
Because it works, and it's just a nice reminder. But that's also, it's important to surround yourself with people who do that for you, who lift you up, who aren't negative, and if we all go through it, you got to have those people that will let you have your 5 minutes, but then lift you up and be positive. And so I always thought that was I don't know, that's important to have those people. And one of the things she said was you have to choose to run your life instead of feeling like it's running you.
That's good.
That's how we start our mornings. You know, you've decided to be positive and you know you need that affirmation. I know I need that. I actually have part of my Google Chrome was that you could have this extension that gives you a beautiful scenery with a positive quote. And it says, what's your focus for today? And you type that in and you enter. And every time you open a browser, there's your
right in your face. That's nice.
I need that.
And your focus for the day. And I'm like, that's brilliant because my brain needs that. I know I need that. So, yeah, I love that.
And I think sometimes too, they say whether it's a smell, right, or a color, you know, that you see that brings, you know, joy into, you know, your day. I think whatever works for you, it's important to implement that. So good stuff.
And, you know, this book, it's about, you know, the busy woman's guide, but I think so much of it just applies to everybody. Yeah. Everyone can kind of institute these. We happen to be busy women, so it works. But
I think every female's busy.
I don't care if you're a stay-at-home mom or, you know, whatever. Everybody, it's just life is going so much faster and it's so much more complicated than it ever was. And
it used to be back in the day, you're like, oh my God, I wish it was 5 o'clock. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. It's 5 o'clock. Where did the day go? You know, it's constantly like that. And you're getting up one more hour earlier thinking you could, you know, fight the clock and the time associated with the day. But there is only so much time in the day, you know, and taking control in our business, it's a lot easier said than done. I think a lot of the agents out there can relate. I mean, I don't have to get in a car. Now I get in a car to come see you, but I don't get in a car to have to run to an appointment to show this house or, you know, what if, you know, that issue happens, you know, on the home or something usually comes up, you know, lender A says they're good to go. And then miraculously they're denied, you know, 3 days later, like shit. Ooh, can't say that. Whoops. Hits the fan all the time. I'm from the Northeast, so I apologize. I might look cute and sweet.
Stuff hits the fan.
Yeah, stuff comes out.
She just dropped a Monte bomb right there.
Yeah, it's okay. So, but sometimes it does, right? And you're just like, oh my gosh, I had a plan. I was supposed to time block and I was supposed to you know, do this between blank and blank. And that just got thrown out the window, you know?
Yeah.
And you just keep going. You do the best you can, you know? Yeah. The little trainer on the Peloton just says, do your best. I'm like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that.
With our admin staff, and we call them the back office of awesomeness for a reason. But honestly, you talk about, you know, surrounding yourself with positive people who lift one another up. But if one of us is having a bad day or we're overwhelmed or we're buried, everybody else is there jumping in to help out.
Oh, great.
If we decide, hey, everybody caught up today, let's close the office a little bit early, but everybody will jump in and help if one office is busy and the other isn't. And I mean, they're just amazing at what they do, but they're just fabulous people.
And like we said, we are surrounding ourselves with amazing people. There's people behind your engine, the curtain per se, you know, that makes you amazing out there as a solid real estate agent. And I love this. I think this is good stuff. So thank you, Chrissy. Is there any more to share about this amazing book?
You know, the last thing, and it does touch on what Connie said about our team. It says, when we share our journey, we light the way for others, especially when the path has been challenging. And that, it makes me a little teary-eyed because to sit with women that you truly admire and to see what you guys have faced as challenges or what our team has faced, and I work with them every day and I know their challenges and see what they accomplish. I mean, talk about lighting the way. Like, it's really, really inspiring. So this book I know is very helpful, but I don't think it would mean as much to me if I didn't firsthand work with women who applied these types of things. So,
I love that. And you're right. Tomorrow can be brighter. You know, they say, you know, the sun shines after the darkest storm, you know, and we're all going to go through something of just a crazy day. And we're going to be working with the Busy Woman's Guide to an Extraordinary Life of Meaning and Success on purpose, for sure. So thank you, Chrissy.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Connie, for being here.
Fabulous.
This was really good. I'm actually going to rewrite
We're having cocktails next time we do this.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Right.
We'll bring it. We should do a podcast. We should just add another podcast, Drinks with the Blondes. And all discussions, everything in, all things business and life. I love it.
Amen.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Cannot wait to have you come back. You've been listening to The Talk of Music City Real Estate.